Right now. Welcome to Scio Township Board of Trustees meeting, an early one. Hopefully we'll get out before midnight. Yeah. Anyway, Clerk Flintoff, could you call the roll, please?
Sure. Carrie,
Present.
Gable,
Present.
Flintoff, present, Grant,
Here.
Noel, here, Reed,
Here.
Riser, absent. Also present, Office Coordinator Christy Aiken and Township Attorney Mariah Fink has joined by.
Board members, could you please turn your ringers off on your phone?
What'd you say?
Turn your ringers off on your phone
Mine's already
or
out.
down. Okay. There we go. Great. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes. Okay. Adoption of the agenda.
I would just make a motion that we switch the order of new business so that it goes O2 and O1 to accommodate our guests here who are here for priority days.
Support.
Anything else?
I'll move the agenda as amended.
Support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Agenda is adopted as amended. Declaration of conflict of interest. There is an agenda item on in regards to my attorney fees, and I am recusing myself. Or asking the board to vote to that I can recuse myself, and not only that, even though our rules of order do only state that I need to recuse myself from the vote, I am going to recuse myself from the conversation as well.
So I'd make a motion pursuant to our rules 11.3 conflict of interest and rule 11.2 obligation of oath. I move to grant the supervisor's request to abstain from the conversation and vote on item O1, approval of claim for final payment of attorney fees related to case 2024-24 F30828FY.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. F, correspondence is received. There was also one from, Sergeant, Commander Rush, sorry, that will be, did you include that or, oh, you did? Okay, great, thank you. And, in recognition of Skip Davis and his,
Sam Carmaggi.
volunteering for the Shop with the Cop, I believe, and also everything else that he does for the community. Okay. Special topics, none. Public comment. This is the time for members of the public to speak to the Board of Trustees for up to 5 minutes on any matter. We begin with anyone present, and we already have a volunteer. Hi, Rob.
Rob Pattinson, Scio Township resident. Jess, I'm assuming you wrote the resolution to pay the legal fees?
It's prepared by Jessica. It says that on there.
Okay, thank you. There are a few mistakes in it and the wrong law is referenced, so I assume Mariah didn't write it. Some corrections need to be made to this document to make it more accurate, honest, and truthful. In the second whereas statement, you referenced the amended Scio Township ordinance that now says may pay legal fees. That's the wrong law. The law that applies in this case is the one that states the township shall pay legal fees. In the sixth whereas statement, you read that Jillian personally retained an attorney several months prior to commencement of criminal action. And the Board of Trustees has desired to support her personal selection of defense counsel, unquote. That is not an honest statement. When the event occurred, Jillian asked the township for help with legal representation. The township denied her, even though the law said they must. Jillian was left on her own with zero support, and if it wasn't for members of the community stepping up, she would have been left with a public defender. As to the statement desiring to support her selection, you and members of this board have engaged in several dirty tricks over the past year aimed at removing her legal representation and replacing them with someone cheaper. That is not support. Please make the 6th whereas statement more truthful. In the 10th whereas statement, you say it is unclear what additional costs will be submitted. That statement is irrelevant because the law says shall pay. In the 11th whereas statement, you write that the board must exercise fiscal discipline. Are you referring to the same fiscal discipline that ordered a fancy HVAC system for $1.57 million, more than double the worst case scenario by the professional consultant? And you made that decision based on one bid from one contractor and never widened the request for bid to include Jackson, Lansing, and Detroit areas. So citing fiscal discipline is at best a dishonest statement. In your 6th resolved statement, you write payments are contingent upon a supervisor's written acceptance of these payments as full and final payments. Do you really believe it is a good idea for an innocent person to sign a document that absolves the township of the responsibilities our own law says we must adhere to? In 2025, we're up to 20 dirty tricks from this board. Is it really wise to sign a document considering the number of dirty tricks? What is to keep members of this board from yet another dirty trick to cheat Jillian out of covering her legal costs? I submit that any future dirty tricks from this board make this release null and void because the board will have broken the agreement. Jillian, the 7th resolved statement says that upon execution of the aforementioned release, the township will pay your legal fees. I highly suggest that the legal fees be paid and the checks clear the bank before you sign the release. This statement reeks of another dirty trick in the wings waiting to be sprung like a bounced check. The 8th resolved statement says that there are final payments. The 8th resolved statement says these are the final payments. What happens if there is an appeal? What then? Oh, right, that's when the law kicks in and the shall pay component covers any further costs. The 9th resolved statement says these payments satisfy any alleged or perceived obligation the township has to pay Supervisor Carey for the costs of her criminal defense. That is an irrelevant statement because the law says the township shall pay her legal fees. I find this document offensive. It is as if it was written by Hathaway, and there can be no more damning comparison than that. Members of this board have stated that Jillian's attorneys are unethical. You all have refused to pay them since May. That's more than 7 months ago. Yet you have received exactly 0 late fees. Now who's unethical? Mariah, if this is not the end of the legal fees, what takes precedence? The law says the township shall pay. What takes precedence? The law says the township shall pay, or the release in this document. Where is Mariah? I'm sorry, she's on Zoom. Okay. I would appreciate an answer to that question. Thank you, Mariah, for contacting the attorneys and working out a solution. I hope this is the end of the dirty tricks. Please make the corrections listed above to make this document more honest and truthful. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Anyone else present would like to speak? Hey, Tom.
Hi, Tom Oth. Just a couple of things on the extension of the contract for priority waste that I've mentioned to several of you here just before the meeting here today. And Mariah, I think I had not had an opportunity to talk with her about this. And sorry, Mariah, for missing you at the Christmas party to talk to you specifically about this. But I have had an opportunity to talk with Sam Caramagno from Priority Waste, who's here today as well. It's cleared up a couple of my concerns, but I'll just put them on the record. My comments are taken from the 2-page contract, proposed contract, which is included in your packet. On the first page, there's a 2-year term. It begins November 18th, 2025, and there's a certain price there. Most, if not all of us, have already paid that quite some time ago, and I just paid the latest one just the other day, so I paid for the next first 3 months of 2026. The question then becomes, number one, are we getting refunds or credits for the payments already made? And Mr. Caramagno has assured me that that will be the case. He can speak for himself, but I'll take his word for it. So we're supposed to get some sort of adjustment on that. Also, he's confirmed that the 5% discount, which applies to a lot of us, is also going to be part of the calculations for the fees. My second concern is in paragraph 3, where it basically says that any modification to services in the original contract can be made, and that the township shall not unreasonably withhold its approval for all such matters. That's inadvertently, I think, very broad. And I'll give you an example. What happens if Priority Waste decides, well, we're not going to do recycling anymore? Or recycling only once a month or something like that. The way this reads here, the township shall not unreasonably withhold its approval for such matters. And I don't think that's what was intended. So that should be just clarified. And finally, on the second page under paragraph 4, the proposed contract that's in the packet is blank. On paragraph 4, Mr. Caramagno, however, has confirmed to me today when we spoke that that was a proposed contract which Ms. Fink and the attorney for Priority Waste discussed, and at Ms. Fink's request that has been removed. So we don't, that's of no consequence. Those are my comments on this. Thanks.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.
Anyone else present would like to speak?
Michael Simpson with the fire department. I just wanted to come up here and say, I'm ending the first year of my employment here, and I'm just very grateful to be here. And then on top of that, want to thank all of you for approving my requests for educational assistance. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Michael. We're proud of you for moving forward with your education.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good afternoon. Lance Baird, Lieutenant of the Fire Department and the Union President. Here to talk to you guys about K2 and to thank you on behalf of the employee who is benefiting, who was unable to make it, and on behalf of the union, thank you for what the union thinks is the right thing to do. So I just want to thank you guys for doing that for K2. Thank you.
Thanks,
Guys have a Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Anyone else present would like to speak?
Hi, I'm Marcia Haddock, Scio resident, and I just want to add my 2 cents that today's final claim for payments for Jillian's attorney is unlawful and disrespectful. Scio has an obligation to pay for defense. The statute is clear and it is to indemnify, and the board is placing artificial limits on this statute. What defines reasonable or sustainable? Nobody has said that, and I'm not sure there's a specific answer. So today we find out, as John Reiser said a few meetings ago, what the amount is for the board to officially throw Jillian under the bus. It's a very disheartening, sadly true statement now. Looking back, it has long been the intent of at least 4 board members to place an artificial limit for Jillian's defense. It began visibly with the MOU in February, if not earlier. As a Scio resident, I'm disgusted that the board has not approved Jillian's defense fees in a timely manner. They continue to interfere in her unjust criminal case. They have added hypocrisy and harassment to an already difficult situation. I again encourage the board to focus on the issues residents want most, to make Scio a great place to live with fairness, transparency, and compassion for all. The past year has not met these goals. Hopefully the new year will bring new purpose to this board. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. Thank you, Marcia.
been other things that have had since then, in 18 months of priority waste, 2 more property damages, which I believe Sam, who's here today, I did not know he would be, is aware of. It's on record through the township, through Christie notification. We also happened to be billed by priority when they took over for services that we never signed a contract for. I want you to know this to understand what kind of company you're dealing with. People are making promises to you and they're not following through. I don't say this personally, but I do say it as a representative of the community. There is a problem here, and I'm really sad to see that we might just go right on with it again. And I hope that everyone on this board understands that it's just as important as anything else. We have a private road, a half mile. Consistently, the compost truck comes down our road. No one uses it. There have been calls from clients who do pay for services. It doesn't matter. And I believe it was in September, I'm getting my straight here. I believe, excuse me, it was in June of 24 that Mr. Caramaggio said, we have new high-end trucks. They can see everything. They don't do damages. There's no problem. Oh, and wait, we will never go home without the job done. Guess what? You've all gotten notices, you've all heard. They go home with the job not done. I personally ran a medical practice, not this particular business, but in any business, particularly a business that represents the residents of Scio Township. Something has to change. I would be happy to speak more in detail with Mariah. I understand there's a contract. I haven't seen it. I apologize. I didn't know it was available. I just got back into town. And again, this can be referenced if I have every email, if I need to resend them to you all. Gratefully with Christy Aiken is the only person here with the help of Jillian this last time, as she was involved as now head of that area since we don't have a township manager. This is consistent. This is problematic. And I don't even have an account with them. I can't imagine how the people that do feel. So please take time. My last comment is, again, and I say it every time, involve us. We have opinions. We don't always agree, but involve this community. I am asking for that as I come back. My last time here was as a member of the 25-26 Compensation Committee. I'm no longer legally a representative of that. One day I will come back here to speak about that and the work I did and how I feel about that. But for today, it's time to look at this contract. It's time to talk about it and to understand what the residents are getting for what they're paying for. Thank you for listening to me. And I'm happy to be back to see all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. And I just want to say, Christy and I were just troubleshooting some of the audio people at home were having, but I think it's working now. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else present would like to speak? Okay. anyone?
Okay, online, first to speak will be Barb Byers, followed by Ben Murphy Smith. Go ahead, Barb.
Hi, I'm in the car, so I hope it comes through okay.
Yep.
I'm Barb Byers and I live on Miller Road between Wagner and Seed. And I also want to give my opinion about renewing this contract with Priority Waste. I mean, the service has just been ridiculous in the last 2 to 3 months. I think they've come one time on one time at the time they were supposed to come, and then today they did. I did notice that, but there's been several weeks where they didn't come at all, and I put in a complaint. I both on the township website and on the and their website. I give Jillian a lot of credit. She always calls me back when I leave a remark. I guess I just don't understand. We have to pay for it. The residents have to pay for it, but there's no accountability to us. And I even asked, I go, well, if you don't come, shouldn't I get a refund on that week? Well, no, we don't do that. And then, so I guess if we have to renew the contract, I know there's not a lot of time, but aren't there performance measures in there? Shouldn't there be penalties if the service is bad? I just don't understand. And then they say they're going to fix things and they don't. So it's just aggravating that we have to pay for a service that is so bad, and then we're just going to renew this contract. I just really don't understand that. So my 2 cents would be put performance measures in the contract and stick to them, and let's have some fines if they're not met. But I would really prefer that we look at an open bid process for a new vendor. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thanks, Barb.
Thank you. Next up is Ben Murphy Smith, followed by Paula Gloverson. Go ahead, Ben.
Thank you. I also live in the area. I live on Miller Road between Wagner and Zeeb. I'm going to echo a lot of what the prior speaker, Barb, said. I live in a duplex sort of household situation. There are 2 households. My mom's in the other household, and she will often call Jillian when we don't get service. Thank you, Jillian. However, we are submitting tickets 2 or 3 times a week. We are not getting service. It's as if we are not on a service route. They are not responsive. I will submit 2 to 3 tickets and be told they're filled. I will go outside and my trash and recycling are not collected still. I had my trash collected last week, I think 5 days after our collection day, after a lot of nagging. I didn't come prepared with lots of solutions or ideas like some of our other speakers, but I do think that there is zero accountability. We're often paying for a service where I do more work than the drivers themselves because I'm working so hard to get them to come to our house. It is a it is not working right now. And maybe I am in a bad spot for the route that the drivers are coming from, but they are consistently not picking up anything for our house or our neighbors' houses. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Ben.
Ben. Next up is Paula Gloverson, followed by Ferris Riaz. Is that right? Sorry about that. Go ahead, Paula.
Yeah, happy holidays to everybody. And I hear everyone. I really wanted to hear I think it's Tom Ott, who the sound. I just did the live, and then I thought, oh, I guess maybe I have to sign into Zoom. But thank you for fixing the sound. So I didn't get to hear his public comment. I was really interested. I'll have to rewatch the video. I use the Scio app. I find that way I can look at the agendas. Now, people are going to be upset, but we never collected data. I remember the meeting and the supervisor said, well, there's just too much data that she didn't have the time to go through that. But I'm going to say, other than when there was a transition with GFL, I've had pretty good service. Last week, my neighbor does not always package their recycle and trash properly, so some of it, he even got out of his truck and picked it up. But I'm in an HOA, good things and bad things, and they negotiated. I don't believe we pay extra for composting, and they even took a large basketball hoop and many other large items. And I remember paying in 2018 quite a bit of money to have people come and donate and remove some things. So, you know, I just wonder, are certain areas getting worse service than others because they're not, the houses are closer in here together. and, or maybe it's certain drivers. I have not had the oil problem. That really upset me is the large amount of oil that was leaking out, but that was months ago. But other than that, I had wanted to know what Warma had to say and what we can do personally. I have batteries that I've been trying to return. Maybe it's the Christmas week and you have to make an appointment. Regular batteries. Lowe's will take the other batteries, but I personally, yes, it's a little more expensive, but I think everything's a little more expensive. But I'm not saying we shouldn't. I see a lot of the businesses have Waste Master. I'm not saying don't look at a bid or the contract. I'm just saying I'm sorry for everyone else who's had so much difficulty, but I have not had difficulty with the billing or what they're taking. But I do think it needs to be looked at and on the other people's problems addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula.
Thanks, Paula.
Okay, next up is Ferris. Go ahead, Ferris.
Hi, are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
All right. So I'll pile on to the priority waste discussion. As I discussed with Jillian, since they switched from GFL to priority waste, it's been typical for the garbage to be collected a day or sometimes 2 days late. Our collection day is Wednesday, so there've been many times where it would be picked up on Thursday and sometimes even Friday. And then on the week of December 10th, mine didn't get picked up at all. I don't know about everyone else on the street. I live on Weber Drive, so plenty of neighbors here. So I think Jillian said that we have like another 2 years with them, but I'm on the bandwagon of let's go with a different company to deal with our garbage and recycling. And I hope that we can find somebody better as soon as possible. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ferris.
Thank you, Ferris. Anyone else who would like to speak at public comment, please raise your Zoom hand. There are no hands raised.
All right. Well, thank you. Now is the time for board member response. If there's any response, trustee Noel.
There seems to be some confusion with the indemnification provision in the Scio ordinance. So let me just give you some history. The state statute on indemnification is permissive in the language regarding this. So that state statute says, quote, may indemnify. When Scio changed their statute, it was only to be consistent with the state. So Scio's ordinance is now consistent with state law. And had there been a challenge previously to the shall, state law would probably have been controlling. Anyway, so we just made the decision to make it clear that we are now consistent with the state. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. Any other board response? Okay, I know Jillian will be back in just a little bit. She asked me to keep things moving. With that, if we could go to approval of the minutes, please. Approval of the minutes of the December 9th regular meeting.
I move their approval.
Okay, moved by Riser, support by Reed to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion passes. Minutes are adopted as presented. Next up is our consent agenda. There were no amendments to it. Is there a motion to adopt our consent agenda as presented?
I'd make motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Support. Motion by Yeaple, support by Noel. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Consent agenda adopted as presented. And Jillian, we are to L.
Oh, thank you. Yep. Reports. There are a few reports included. Tom, you had included your WARMA monthly report. Thank you for that. And I think Paula had requested to read that or want to know. So it's in the packet. LPC meeting recap and Parks meeting recap. Thank you, David. Are there any other reports?
Nothing urgent for today.
I'll just add two quick things. Later today, because getting the post office to pick up our mail here has been a challenge, at least yesterday. We're remailing all of the outstanding summer tax bills. So I think that some of the residents, when they'll receive it, hopefully will pay it. Some might not, but there's about 340 bills that are going to go out. So, Summer, correct, yeah. So we reprinted and hand stuffed all of those over the weekend and did this week. Thank you off Coordinator Aiken and the rest of the staff for the holiday party, and thanks for everybody for being flexible during the HVAC move. Trustee Riser, you weren't here, but I'll just make this quick comment. In the future, if we can edit out the ex officio comment in the item that we passed on consent, I wasn't gonna pull it, but
Okay, so,
I was gonna mention it at the adoption of the agenda, but I don't think you were here.
is it, can I ask, if there, by show of hands, is that okay with the group?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No more Latin.
That's it. That's all I got. Thanks, Alan.
Okay, thank you.
Question for Ryan. Are you assuming that these 300 bills were lost in the mail?
I assume some of them are.
Someone.
Some of them, it's a mix of different things. Some of them I think were lost in the mail potentially. I have any proof. Some of them I think, at least a couple of the people that are deceased. So that won't go very far. Several of them are personal property statements that I think are new businesses to the community in the last year, who don't know how personal property works yet. So maybe sending them another piece of mail. Generate a phone call.
So was there a late fee involved with this?
Yes,
And
and
what is-
interest accrues at 1% a month from September 15th.
So even if it was locked with them? That's part of their obligation. No those taxes.
It's one of the things, and maybe I'll hopefully have this in the first quarter, try to work on, especially for new homeowners, like a welcome letter or welcome packet of some sort, like, hey, if you're in water and sewer, your bill comes every 3 months. Here's the first bill should come this time. If you don't get it, call us. That's fine. Taxes come this time and taxes are due this time.
Welcome.
Well, no, and we can add information about like compost, parks programming, other things that the township does, so.
Just don't start it out. Greetings.
Thank
Now you got trapped.
you.
All set? Yeah, okay. Anyone else for reports? Okay. Next, this would be O2, possible action approval of extension to priority waste contracts.
Good afternoon, Sam Caremagno, Priority Waste.
Is Mariah?
I've already made her.
Sorry, I am here. Did you want me to present this?
Yes, please.
So several months ago, the board decided that it made sense to negotiate an extension with Priority Waste on the current contract to allow the board time to put together an RFP and consider potentially a contract with a different waste hauler, but certainly a new contract, just because of the age of the contract, the fact that it was with a different company and Priority was was assigned the contract, and also just some issues with the contract. So based on the board's direction, I negotiated with Priority the 2-year extension of the current contract. The extension document is in your packet. Just responding quickly to the comments that Tom Auth made. He and Sam are correct. The number 4 is a paragraph that I asked be deleted from this document, and it just was a mistake that the 4 itself didn't get moved out and 5 didn't get bumped up to being 4. And as to the modification language in paragraph 3, I'm less concerned about that than Mr. Auth is. Definitely recognizing that it is an issue that I appreciate he brought to your attention. However, the first part of that paragraph is that Priority shall continue to provide the township with all existing services as set forth in the agreement, including but not limited to, and then it names some things. So the contract itself doesn't have specific dates, days of the week for different pickups. The way I read the rest of that paragraph, modification to services, change in routes, or modification of collection dates, is really what that's about. So, for example, if Priority discovered that it made more sense to pick up a certain neighborhood on Wednesday rather than Thursday, they would present that to the township for approval. And if the township didn't have a valid reason for not approving that, the township should approve that. Modifications to services, meaning not doing some of the pickups that are in the original contract, I don't believe would fall under this paragraph. And also the township would be able to rely on the first section of that paragraph that says Priority shall continue to provide with all existing services. So if there's a slight modification to that someone wanted me to take back to Priority, I could, but that's not something that concerned me necessarily. Are there any questions about the extension?
Trustee Reed?
This would have required a much further extension and changed the way it's billed, but we're stuck with it, so we have it. But there's a couple of Scrivener errors, which I pointed out to the clerk.
Would you put them on the record, please?
I will. In the introductory paragraph at the very end, it said collectively the parties, period. Probably should say collectively the parties agree, colon. And then in the now therefore, it ends with hereby acknowledge the parties agree as follows. Probably should say hereby acknowledged by the parties agree as follows. Like I said, very minor Scrivener error. Oh, and number 4 is blank, so I could fill in, and we won't bill anymore, but no.
Strike the number.
Strike the number 4. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Wanted to mention something. I know Tom brought this up, others have brought this up. Just want to get on the record the process for the refund. The 2-year term, under D2, 2-year term, both, we have one bill we've already received and one bill that's forthcoming. So Sam, what is the process for that?
We'll make a credit on your bill for the adjustment of the $25.25 to $24.75. We'll make that adjustment.
$24.50
discount.
And what about the 5% discount?
It's still in effect.
Still in effect?
Yes.
Okay, and will be carried forward. Okay,
Yes, sure will.
thank you.
And will there be a notification in the bills to let residents or customers know about this change?
I'll check with billing, with our billing department. I'm sure we can put something in the bill to let them know there's been a change in the terms of the contract in regard to rate.
Will the credit and the bills show up in the next bill?
I don't know the timing of it. We'll do it as quickly as possible in the next bill. I think the next bills have already went out. So we'll make an adjustment as quickly as possible.
I know I just paid ours like 2 days ago.
So they've already went out.
Okay. And then what about people who have a Friday pickup date? What are people in their trash doesn't get picked up? What should they do?
If they don't get picked up because of the holiday
No.
or just in general,
In general.
they should reach out to us or, well, I guess they reach out to you, but it's Saturday morning. I don't think we've got anybody in the call center. They could go online and register a complaint with us. And we've got trucks that work sometimes 6 days a week.
But I mean, I've heard complaints from people who have had their trash out on Friday, it's not picked up. They leave it out on Saturday, it's not picked up. Some people leave it out on Sunday. I mean, at what point do they know it's not gonna be picked up and they should put everything back in?
If they've registered, sometimes the problems we see that if they've registered a complaint with us, it's best to leave it at the curb so we can come back and get it. We've seen multiple times and through the years, if it's missed, people will take it back out, put it back out the next day. We may have already come by in the morning and we've got our video cameras on our trucks so we can see what we've done, but it's best if it's missed, please leave it out. More often than not, we know what we've missed. If we didn't finish at night for some reason, the roads were slippery, there's a snowstorm, the landfill closed because of, at a certain time we couldn't get in. We know what we've missed. We'll come back for it. Leave it at the curb, please.
Treasurer Depot.
Thank you for being here. So it's $24.50 a month, not $24.75 a month. At least that's what this document says. Another element, I guess, we're going to be having some further action on the waste hauling situation here early next year. So certainly appreciate all the members of the public who have given public comment about the problems they've had with our current waste hauling situation. We have some of that. We have a lot of that data. We're always looking for additional experiences, and I will say we still get phone calls and people contacting us. It's just not a lot of fun. But yeah, I appreciate, and hopefully we'll have some additional information from the board early next year as far as RFP, RFI bidding process, and that way we can see, what our path forward is after this contract extension. Yeah, thanks.
Sam, again, thank you for being here. I just have a question. You mentioned there will be a rebate on the first quarter bill, but isn't a rebate on the fourth quarter bills also due?
It'll be, the new bills went out to indicate the new rate. We've already made that adjustment.
I got my bill, actually, I paid my bill on the 6th of December. I got another bill for the same amount, for the same period. And it's at the old rate, 74.75. Should be 73 something, I think. So 70, well, I got a bill for 74.25, 74.75 and 74.25. Well, and 3 times the 24.50.
24.50, necessary is 73.50.
Okay.
The other reason why this is important is we have our newsletter editor sitting here, and the newsletter for the winter comes out early next year as well. So if we can have clarity around how we're doing this, not us, but how Priority's doing this, we can also communicate it through our website for more immediate impact, and also communicate it out through the newsletter. But that deadline's coming up like January 5th, if I'm correct. Yeah, thank you.
I'll get back with our billing people. I was told today that the new bill went out at the new rate, the $24.50 a month. You're telling me it did not. It came at the old rate at $25.25.
It was at the old rate. Mine was.
Actually,
Should
no,
be-
it's even more. I'll make sure they go
Varies, but
through the bills,
see a lot.
check them off for the proper.
That's what I paid too, 74.25.
24.75.
So that needs to be adjusted then.
Do you get the?
Yeah, are you getting 5%?
No,
I don't either.
I never activated it.
5% either for.
5% discount. Senior citizens.
Well,
Well, because of your husband, right?
You're too young for that.
I don't know. Maybe it's okay.
Okay,
Anyway, thank you, Sam. You're welcome.
Thank you.
yeah, but Sam, I receive pretty much all anything that comes, complaints through Christie and, you know, the other, office, staff, and there's issues with, many issues with customers leaving their bins out at the front, you know, driveways or whatever for pickup, and they don't pick up the whole week. And then the next week, they haven't been picked up. And this is ongoing. It seems like certain areas are more so than others. There's also, there's areas where let's say their day is on Wednesday pickup and it doesn't get picked up till Thursday. So is there a way to look at, because, you know, maybe the Wednesday for that area isn't a good day, but Thursday is, and just changing it so that they know to put it out there on Thursday instead of Tuesday night.
I've written in my notes here, opportunity to reroute some areas if it's out of balance. So there may be an opportunity there. You know, in the last month or so, we had some early bad December weather that caused us some delays. There's no doubt about that everywhere related to roads and just slower than normal collection. So some of these things could be that. It sounds like some of them are ongoing. I want to talk to Renee about this property damage. Miller Road and between Wagner and Zeeb and Weber Drive. I want to talk to our folks a little more detail about that, what's been missed. And I know that I've spoken to you through the email, Jillian, about the new subdivision, and that you may have that on your notes to talk about, but I will tell you that, you know, through the HOA, they register their new homes we built, and when they do, we set them up for billing and then also set them up for a cart delivery. It just so happens, some of those addresses that we get in questions about cart delivery have never been set up for service. So I'm working with Breno on our billing team to get that revised and resolved, specifically the one we talked about just the other day. That resident called for service, but the HOA never registered them for service.
Correct.
And that'd be the reason they didn't get their cart delivered.
Yeah, and we don't want them double billed.
Absolutely
And
not.
that's, so I've been working with the HOA management company and the HOA president. And I think we have a system that's in place for all of that. And our assessor, she was here, she created a list of the new homes that are either have recently been moved into or are finished. So you already have that list, and then you know which homes that carts need to be delivered, and even if they're not occupied yet, because they will be occupied. I sent that last week.
A week ago or so, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I took that list, gave it to Breno, our billing clerk, and he ran them side by side. It's amazing how many addresses were on that list that we had not been notified to begin service. So he's working on that now.
Yeah, good. That's great. And previously, it was a public comment about the data. Yes, I do have a big stack on my desk, related to complaints of various complaints. However, most of that was provided to Tom Oth and Mark Perry, and they did put it into a spreadsheet. So that, I believe, was
it number report?
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I just wanted to let everybody know that it's not just sitting in a corner getting dusty, and I believe you received that as well.
Yeah, I would tell you that we do have a portal that's accessible by anyone you desire in the township board, township management, that can be reviewed. And it does show the date of the input, the issue, missed trash, missed recycle, spill left on the street. It has a closure period, a closure date, and a response of what it was. And in some cases, we certainly don't walk on water, but in some cases, there's late putouts. We go by, we can show on the camera that nothing was at the curb, went by at 8:08 in the morning. So we have that portal. I don't know that you use it completely, but it should have closure for everything that gets put in there. And again, if you do use it, great. If you don't use it or want some more information on it, I can also set someone up, Felicia, to help, our Felicia, to help you walk somebody through it if it helps at all.
Well, we have a complaint form through our website, which also goes to priority, and I'm wondering, who is that going to? Because there's.
It would go to our LDC, logistic driver controller, and it is, I'll tell you the name right now, maybe it'll ring a bell with you. Taylor Oberly. Does Taylor Oberly ring a bell with you, Christie?
How do you spell Oberly?
Oberle. Or if you could tell me who you're sending things to. I see what I see. I get mine from Jillian typically, but I don't get every piece of correspondence.
Well, this is through our.
Right,
Township.
I can tell you who receives it on the back end.
Yes, but he needs to know because it seems like that
I-
goes through, but if nothing, then I get,
I'm
phone calls
almost
from the
certain
same
both
residents.
Sams are listed as recipients.
We may,
You'll know if you get it.
we may need to change that directory to the LDC who is in direct contact with the
He's on
trucks.
as well, but I can confirm it
Okay.
after the meeting.
All right, thank you, Christie.
I'll send an email to you all.
Okay. Sure.
Sam, I didn't mention this. I, like Renee, live on a small dead end road. There are a total of 9 houses, only 7 of live here, so. Not quite routinely, but often recycles are not picked up. Our day is Wednesday. And sometimes our recycles are not picked up, but almost always they're picked up, sometimes by 6 or 7 the next morning. So I don't really notify you guys when it's not picked up because I'm fairly certain they're gonna be the next day. Now, I know they're supposed to be picked up on the day and I know there's supposed to be an issue or a penalty that you don't get out. And I understand that roads get slippery, ice delays things, and after 6 or 7 or 8 o'clock at night, the guys need to go. So I understand that. But I just want to let you know that we personally, on a Merlin Way, I feel we have a good set of service from you. The occasional missed recycle bin, but other than that, unlike other people in the township, I think that little street gets fairly good service. I'm sorry, Renee, that you don't. That little street does get fairly good service.
She shouldn't get any.
Thank you.
Well, her street is.
We certainly like everybody to get great service all the time, and we continue to strive for that. And we will continue to try to improve the service level throughout the township.
Anything else?
Yes. Sam, back to the billing and the amounts that were charged for Q1 2026. We're now notifying people that those charges are slightly high. And so yes, I would expect that people are going to submit the lower amount other than people that have already paid. So could you make sure that they don't get a late fee charge if they're submitting at the proper rate?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
So, as Treasurer Yeaple had said, we're presented with a 2-year extension for this contract. And then, the plan is, as the board has already discussed and decided to move forward with, an RFP, or go out for bid. And in the beginning of the year, we'll start that process, and that may take a while, but, just to let everybody know, we do have a backup plan here. So, is there a motion, it says a model motion, authorize the clerk and supervisor to execute the contract extension with Priority Waste?
I would so move, subject to any modifications that the attorney wants to make based on what was said on this record.
Clerk Flintoff, roll call vote, please.
Okay, per our rules of order, today we're starting with Supervisor Carey. Carey?
Yes.
Yeaple?
Yes.
Flintoff? Yes. Grant?
Yes.
Noel? Yes. Reed?
Yes.
Riser?
Yes.
Motion adopted, 7-0.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas and happy holidays, and thank you for accommodating my my schedule, I've got to run across for a funeral. Thank you very much.
Now we are on to 01. Possible action approval of claim for final payment for attorney fees related to case number 2024-24 F3-0828-FY. Clerk Flintoff. Take it away.
Sure. Thank you. I, just want to say that the background of all the board actions are here in the record. I won't get into it. We all know and have good documentation of our discussions and actions related to this matter. I want to thank, our finance director, Nikki Timmons, Township Attorney Mariah Fink. They have reviewed and prepared the statement of where we're at on the claims. The spreadsheet there, is correct. I bring this resolution after in-depth work with our Treasurer Yable, Township Attorney Fink, and others. I want to thank our Township Attorney for, at our direction a couple meetings ago, connecting with the Supervisor's Attorney of Record, Mark Chutkow. Thank you to Attorney Chutkow, to Supervisor Carey for your part in negotiations with our Township Attorney to finally reach some resolution. This resolution has been approved by both of our Township Attorneys, Mariah Fink and Jim Fink. And I want to thank everybody for your work in good faith in trying to finally resolve this issue. I will share that, people have, I know, reviewed the resolution as presented. I want to acknowledge, a couple of important facts. Our township insurance carrier has twice denied township claims for coverage. We have explored if we have any paths forward there and have found none. We have talked about wanting to contain these legal costs in some way that's appropriate to support our supervisor. We have to date approved $181,605.81. We have before us outstanding claims of $101,144.68. And our township attorney has negotiated fees and terms of payment that are acceptable to Supervisor Carey and her attorney, Mark D. Chutkow of Dykema. And this resolution as presented would again find that the charges filed against Supervisor Carey arose from her actions as a township trustee, would find again that she had a reasonable basis for believing she was acting within the scope of her authority at the time of the alleged conduct. And again, would find that all invoices are accurate, that they've been submitted, reviewed by our township attorney, finance director. We determined to pay Supervisor Carey $101,144.68 as reimbursement of her defense costs for May 1 through November 30. And then we would also resolve to pay Supervisor Carey $65,000 for the costs of future services of attorney Mark D. Chutkow of Dykema, and an additional $10K for the cost of future experts. And that would be an amount that would carry the defense through trial, court, disposition, and any sentencing if there is any. Be it further resolved that both of these payments recommended that they be cut in two different checks this afternoon should this resolution be passed. It would be contingent upon the supervisor's written acceptance of these payments as full and final payments from the township for her defense by executing a township attorney approved release of claims related to payment of defense costs. Our township attorney, Mariah Fink, earlier this morning emailed the board a copy of that fully executed township attorney approved release of claims. And it is in your email. I have some copies here if anybody needs it. That upon execution of the release and this resolution, that we would pay Supervisor Carey this $176,144.68 prior to December 31st. So that is part of the negotiated terms, that the supervisor be paid by December 31st. And that the above payments would satisfy any alleged or perceived obligation the township has to pay Supervisor Carey for the cost of criminal defense. And as always, any further action related to this matter would be made by resolution of the Board of Trustees. So with that overview, I would move the resolution.
I would support it.
And with that, I'd like to turn it over to the board for discussion. Do we want to go around or just
Start.
You had your hand raised.
Oh, I was, it's another issue, but go, you can start
Okay.
down there.
we have a resolution on the table? So Trustee Brown.
Sure. I fundamentally disagree with spending tax dollars before a service is delivered. I have concerns about that. As far as informing the public, I'm considering writing an article about these fees to inform the taxpayers. I think they deserve to see in writing the totality of this. And also, to date, Supervisor Carey's legal defense fund has not been updated since October 2024, last year. The taxpayers cannot see evidence of where their tax dollars went.
Thank you, Kathleen. David?
I share some of Kathleen's issues. The amount of money it's a lot of money, but what I do like is that it's a finite number. Because we've talked about this, I think several of us have suggested that this could run up to $500,000 or more. And I think this one perhaps gives an incentive to the attorney to get this thing done. So, and I know Kathleen bridles at this, but if the attorney gets it done less than $75,000 worth, he gets a Christmas bonus. But if it takes more than 75,000, that's on him. So, but, so I'm gonna swallow hard, but I'm gonna vote for this.
Treasurer Yeaple.
Thank you. Couple of things. I just want to be clear that the resolution, thank you, Clerk Flintoff, for preparing it, and also to Attorney Fink, or Attorneys Fink. I think this is a great that there's a resolution. There's a resolution case and a resolution to resolve the outstanding issue. You know, we've spent a lot of time here at the table discussing this. I'm glad to see this is clear. That it's the final payment, the final action. Everyone needs resolution on this. And I wish that, you know, we had come to this earlier, but so be it. I do want to make it really clear, and I think the resolution also does this, but to put it on the record that this is final, absolute, done, including appeals, including anything else. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. John?
I want to thank our attorney for doing what we asked to, and that's reach out to her defense team and negotiate a resolution on this. So I thank them for being flexible and for working with our attorney. And hopefully we'll put this in the past. We won't have to have these awkward discussions at our Board of Trustee meetings. Important, but awkward. So I'm going to be supporting this. But thank you, Mariah Fink, for the work that you did putting it together.
Kathy?
Yeah, just want to say, I want to thank everybody, Mariah, the work, Jessica. You know, we heard a lot of criticism from the public today. And I think most people would be appreciative for the reimbursement that had been offered and has been given already. And I just want to note that the township has extended itself to try to help. And it's concerning that that doesn't appear to be noted by many. I'm concerned that this release was handed out at the last minute. It wasn't, I mean, I'm told it was done on Friday, and there was a minor revision by your attorney, and I've asked Mariah to detail it more, and maybe she could speak to that. She's approving of this, and that's fine. But I want to make it very clear that I will not support any potential future payments for an appeal. And I want to get that on the record. I want it in the minutes. And I'm gonna want to hear how other board members feel about that. I am concerned that these attorney fees are very high. Yes, this resolution gives us certainty with definition, and I agree with all of that. But the issue looming, if there is a potential future appeal, we need to be crystal clear that we are not going to pay those fees. And if that's a concern, which it might be for Jillian, there's another option out there. You could go back to having a public defender represent you at this time before the trial starts. And you had a public defender previously, an excellent public defender, I might add.
And Kathy, could I just, as a
Yes,
process
okay.
point, no,
I'm sorry.
process point, would you be so kind to direct your comments to the board since Jillian's not part of this conversation?
Yes, that's fine.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so and if potential future appeal expenses are a concern, if she's represented by a public defender in her trial, that public defender's office has the capacity to handle appeals. So it's just something to consider. And I want to make it clear that I will not support future appellate legal expenses here. So if you want to have that covered right now, maybe we should consider, but it's really Jillian's decision. Consider that issue. That's it. I'd like to hear from the rest of you on that.
Thank you. One more time around and then we'll call the question.
Yeah, two things. For the record, this release, signed release, states a case number 24-24F3-0828-FY. That case number was relevant during the preliminary exam. Once this moved to circuit court, the case number is now 25-517FH. I would like to see that in the release, but of course, I'm going on the record because I don't want any confusion about this situation. Okay, second point, when it comes to an appeal, this topic has already been broached when myself and others made an attempt to get a meeting of the minds, a memo of understanding where we clearly stated that. That's always been my position.
Thank you, Kathleen. David?
Final sentence in this introductory paragraph says this release does not relate to any potential appeal of this case should the need for it arise. Please explain how that works. I thought we were.
I will say that this right here is a township attorney approved release. So Mariah, would you be so kind to talk about that sentence, what that means? This release does not relate to any potential appeal of the case should the need for it arise.
Sure. Sorry, earlier I realized I didn't have my camera on, so hello. So generally we think of the trial court part of a case and the appeal part of a case as two completely separate things. So the reason that the release says that this doesn't have anything to do with appeals is that what I have negotiated is just payment through the trial court process. So that it even says in their trial court disposition, and I think it says potential sentencing. So that's what this dollar amount is for. And Mark Chuckow added the part about the appeal because he wanted to make it clear that the 75,000, 65 for attorney fees, 10 for experts does not cover an appeal. I'm not as concerned about that because, as I said, appeals are really just a completely separate issue, right? It's a different court. There's a process in between the end of the trial court and when an appeal needs to be filed. What we were trying to clarify is what this payment is for, which is for the trial court disposition. Trustee Brandt, thank you for pointing out that there's a new case number related to the circuit court case. I don't think there's going to be any problem with adding that, but because those two cases are tied together and the other language that talks about trial court disposition, I don't think that there's any confusion, but we'll get that straightened out. I don't think that I'll have a problem with that. And I believe that the clerk was going to make an edit to the resolution to add the circuit court case number.
I wanted to ask that, would that be a friendly amendment, John, as the seconder of the resolution? If I updated the case numbers in the resolution?
Yes, after checking with Mariah on that, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think you can leave the district court numbers in there because that's kind of how we've been referring to the case, and then put the circuit court number in also.
Okay. Will do.
Mariah, I had a question for you. I know we spoke earlier. I expressed my concerns here. Why don't you tell the whole board kind of what you said to me if we want to make it crystal clear that we are not going to support a future appeal? What do you suggest we do today, if anything? What should we do?
Well, I guess first, Trustee Knoll, I'd like to say that I'm hopeful that this case will end at the trial court and that an appeal isn't necessary. If an appeal is necessary and you wanted to clarify today your intention, whether you would support, pay for, or reimburse for the costs of an appeal, it would be in a separate motion than the one that's before you right now. So what's before you right now is to approve the resolution with the small edit that the clerk just made. You could bring a second motion and ask the board to state whether or not an appeal would be paid for. That's how I would recommend you handle it if you felt like you needed to do it today.
Given everything that's gone on here, and the lack of communication, kind of the irregularities that have occurred, do you think we should do it today?
I'm not concerned about having you clarify that today, because as I said, I think that there's a very good chance that this will end at the trial court. And then you wouldn't have to deal with it at all. If the trial court disposition prompts Supervisor Carey to investigate and appeal, she would have time between that trial court disposition and the deadline for filing her appeal, and you could have a conversation about it at that time if she made a request for that to be covered by the township. So I guess what I've been saying the last few weeks to you is I make suggestions, you make decisions. I think you can do it now, or you can wait, and there isn't a better choice either way. So that's something that only you can decide.
And I just want to make it clear, I didn't have this concern until I heard that Jillian's attorney revised this sentence.
Well, I think it's because he wants to make it clear that if there's going to be an appeal, it would be a separate cost. That's the only clarity. And that's typical, when doing this kind of work on a flat fee, which is what is proposed to finish this case, is not super unusual. And generally what it is I'll finish this case through trial court disposition for a flat fee of X, not including any appeals. That's pretty standard language, because we want to clarify that the trial court disposition and the appeal court process are two separate things.
I understand that, and that makes sense. I'm still concerned, but let's continue the discussion.
Thank you. David?
Two things. This refers to a specific case number. Appeal would be a different. That's correct. Mariah, is that correct?
Yes, an appeal would have a different case number at the Court of Appeals, correct?
And I think, Mariah, you mentioned that the sentence says legal defense through trial court disposition, and I think you said and sentencing. But
I think it might say and possible sentencing. Let me see if I can.
It's not in there.
That is what's in the resolution.
In the resolution.
But
yeah.
Is it safe to assume, Mariah, that trial court disposition includes sentencing?
Yeah, it is.
All right. I'm done.
I just have a couple comments. I want to thank everybody for working through this. I've been really on the edge with this, and I, clearly support this. Having brought it, I think everybody's worked hard to try to come to some sort of consensus, but I do want to remind, just because we have heard a few things repeated in public comment, I just want to share a little bit about my conversations with residents. So I've probably talked to about 20 residents about this. Every single one of them has said it can't be limitless. It can't be limitless. It is no judgment on a person. It is just simply when people are paying the taxes, there's got to be some determination of reasonableness. That's what this board has been trying to figure out, is what is reasonable. And there is no template for that. These things are so rare. So I would also, remind folks that, as part of our duty, that this is the hard work of it, is figuring out what's reasonable. I appreciate that we've come to this. I will also remind the board, at least, in my mind, is, this is gravy. A release is gravy. But again, this is to settle any perceived claims. We've already been advised, about our responsibility to pay is not definite. Not only with the state statute, and forget about us changing the ordinance to include volunteers, such as Ian Huber, who was very much on my mind when he was being questioned, to include volunteers. When we made that changed the ordinance, which I brought and stand by. at the advice of our township attorney, to include volunteers, the one who's been most sharply questioned on the stand to date. And so the shall versus may, I think, has been completely overblown and misunderstood. I will say, we've gotten the advice from our township attorney. I am not concerned about the townships having any exposure or liability on this issue. I'm just concerned about us making sure that we support reasonable fees. So I think this gets to it, and I support the resolution with the friendly amendments of adding the additional case number. Are there any other comments before we vote?
Just one last
Yep.
one. I just remind everybody, this is not the conversation that I think anybody wants to have. It's a hard thing that we have to do. But we have a fiduciary duty to all of the taxpayers, and I talk to a number of taxpayers, so does the deputy treasurer every week, who are upset that their taxes are going up for one reason or another. And, we have to put ourselves for the good of the whole, not for the good of our individual selves. And that's really what I keep thinking back to when I'm trying to work through this problem. So with that, thank you.
Okay. Catherine.
Yeah, one final comment. There's nothing in this language at all that precludes Supervisor Carey's attorney from reaching a settlement tomorrow. The settlement has been offered. I've documented that. I can read that again if anybody wants to hear the documentation. I put it on the record. These are court records, so they are factual. Those are my concerns, that then this attorney can pocket $75,000 before to end this, and that is not good use of taxpayers' dollars.
Thank you. I'd like to call the roll if everybody's done deliberating. Okay, so the model motion to approve resolution as presented with the addition of the case numbers, and I'll get Mariah's advice on where to insert those additionally. First up, Yeaple.
Yes.
Flintoff? Yes. Grant?
No.
Noel?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Ryder? Okay, resolution is adopted 5-1. Jillian?
Okay, well, I guess that's it, or we didn't move anything else along. Now is the time for public comments. This is the time for members of the public to speak to the Board of Trustees for up to 5 minutes on any matter. Hi, Mary.
Hi, everybody. Mary Gillis, just a regular resident. Thank you for finding a way to resolve this excruciating ordeal of having to pay for services of which you had no control or even knowledge of. Jillian's legal services. I'm sorry for Jillian for getting caught in a trap laid by Will Hathaway and some others. I believe she committed no crime other than to piss off a powerful man. Failing to control her legal fees is not a crime. And to critics of this board, neither is it a crime to try to curb those exorbitant expenses of taxpayer funds. Whatever hard feelings Jillian has over this situation. Sorry, I can't read my notes. I want to say it's not your fault. Any hard feelings that remain here, it's not your fault. It's been a really bad and really long situation, and there's a lot of victims here. And I don't think there's that many persecutors. So I'd like some acknowledgement of that. Thanks for hearing me out.
Thanks, Mary.
As long as you're closer, thank you very much. This is important. This is not my 5 minutes. I am shaking and I want this board to understand what happened because it will go on record. You need to understand, this man that you signed a contract with, Sam Paramungo, I have the card. None of you saw what happened, and I wanted the officer to understand he did not see. So I need to follow through and tell you briefly and quickly, and I'm sorry, this is not my 5 minutes. I am shaking, and if my husband were here, he would be asking you to intercede. He does not see what's happening when he sat where he did. That gentleman walked back. He was angry at me for what I said, which was truthful, and I have documentation. He walked back, and as I sat in that back row, he took 2 chairs. I asked the gentleman to stand by me. So you did not think that I was going to do something that was done to me. And he did this and threw the chairs around. And he sat down and he said, my son's name is this, and you need to make sure you talk to me. And this is who you talk to. That's what was done to me in this room. Now you have contracted to have security here. I've been reading about it briefly. It's not working. That was wrong. And you just approved a contract. I'd like Mariah to understand what happened. I am upset. This is not the first time in this room it's happened. We need to do something. Is there anybody who wants to ask me a question? Feel free to talk to me after the meeting. I would like to have my 5 minutes now, if I could, to make a public comment. Do you think it's safe enough for me to do that? Or is someone going to object for me having that time?
No, and I'm
Because
sorry.
I have stayed here even though I was upset. And it was leaned into like this and said, don't talk to my son. He has the same name. Call me. I can verify all the communications have been with him. It's important. And it's important that we redefine where you should be standing. And would you have interceded when someone came into my personal space this way? I wish there had been a camera on me. I don't know if there is. Thank you, sir. May I make this very brief? I'm sorry, I'm struggling, but it's important. I just want you all to understand also, you cannot access priority waste for any kind of a problem if you don't have an account number. So therefore, we're stuck. And we can't make calls and we can't say. And maybe you don't care if the trucks drive over your front lawn or they roll over large boulders and rock them away. We do. Nothing was talked about. I don't know if the contract talks about that or not. You do not have an access if you don't have an account number, unless they make up an account number and send it to you. And the last thing I wanted to just, I'm sorry, I didn't say. My name is Renee Klubeck. I just wanted to ask, to ask a question to maybe be answered later to me. If Trustee Noel, when she was making her comments, was speaking as the attorney representation, or if that was what Mariah would agree with the terminology that was referenced, the different words. And I apologize if I'm not presenting very well. Indemnification, the changes. And could perhaps Mariah address that to us? It's difficult to know if we're supposed to be hearing this as a comment or if it's a legal term to us. So that's all I can do for now. Thank you so much. Anyone else present would like to geez, go to coffee. I'll pay for the cleaning. I'm sorry. I have to call. It's okay.
Good afternoon. Pat Stein, long-term resident, long-time resident. Couple of things. Trustee Noel, thank you for that clarification regarding the indemnification shall or may. That subject has been talked to death with the public, twisted, misconstrued. I'm hoping that this final clarification does it, and we have to hear no more, okay? During I guess it was the 1 year mark when I said this board has made some tough decisions, easy decisions, hard decisions. Today was a hard decision, but like always, you've made a decision that is always in the best interest of the residents of this township. And for that, I thank you. What you basically, for me personally, the resolution you've all agreed on today, or as a board, you've agreed on today, it actually takes maybe 3 months of the edge off. You know, who knows what happens in April, but it is, high dollars are a concern. I told you before, cost. I'm into cost savings. I'm into nothing extravagant, but, it is not liking the high rates is not any indication of feeling guilt or innocence regarding our supervisor. It's just about the high cost. Just wanted to clarify that. Also, I want to thank you all again. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays and good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else present? Okay, Christy, anyone online?
Okay, first up is Ferris Riaz. Is that right? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, hi. Just wanted to follow up on some of the comments. I think his name was Sam, right, from Priority Waste. He said that there were cameras on the trucks. That's great. So then they know that, well, as he said, they know what they've missed. So that's good. And he mentioned sometimes that the landfill closed and they need to pick it up the next day or whatever. So uh, when they pick it up the following day, that was an annoyance, and I didn't complain about that. I only complained when they didn't pick it up at all. But he said that some people didn't put their garbage out. I don't think we would be complaining if we didn't put our garbage out, right? So uh, I can say for myself that I always put it out the night before. And I'm pretty sure that all the other people who are complaining, where like we put our garbage out, otherwise, we wouldn't have a complaint. So I don't know if he's trying to shift it onto the consumers here, but that's, at least for me, that's not the case. There are some times where the trash isn't full, like only recycling's full, and I only put out recycling. Either way, it should still get picked up, right? So I just want to clarify that and make that part of the record that uh, uh, a lot of us, and certainly in my neighborhood, so myself and my neighbors, we always put our garbage out. It's not the case that we just didn't put it out. So I just want to make that clear. Thanks.
Thank you, Ferris.
Thanks, Ferris.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in public comment? Please raise your Zoom hand. There are no hands raised.
Okay.
Well, this wait, hold on, Paula Glover.
That's all you had to say, Christy.
Sorry. Go ahead, Paula.
Paula Globerson, longtime resident. I'm glad there's some resolution to this. I appreciate the clarification by Kathy Knoll. Many residents do not, including myself at times. I actually tried to sign in and just do the the proceeding, but I wasn't getting any sound because when when a trustee speaks their opinion, even an opinion I may not agree with, I am hoping this resolution stops the attacks on other trustees that have a different opinion. And compromise is a good thing sometimes. And because it was extremely high fee. The unfortunate case of Mr. Reiner being allegedly murdered by his son. They had an article, whether this is true or not, whether you read something and it's true, but he's being paid $2,000 an hour. So I heard, well, Ann Arbor pays 1% for their DDA, but we can't compare what we were paying our DDA of 50%. And there are residents who I ran into who have no idea that still, after all these DDA discussions, how much capture the DDA was getting. And I did make an error about the charter township. That was the second to the last. I don't have the date in front of me. Didn't plan on making this comment about being a charter township by the supervisor. And it's at 1534, where there's a whole thing about um, whatever. Maybe Roger's great with Roger Rail. Maybe I should get him to have GPT to print that out, that meeting. And this board's accomplished many good things for the residents and doing some cost savings. And my personal Chris Hahnemus present was Aubrey Grove. And I'm really glad came to some resolution there as well. And I think the board, and I've said it before, I think this is the best board we've had, even with things going on. Since I started living here, started building a house in '87. So I hope we proceed into the new year with accomplishing more very good things for the township. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Paula.
Paula. Next up is Barbara Byers. Go ahead, Barbara.
Okay, I'm at home now, so I just wanted to echo two small points. Wanted to echo Ferris's comments about we put our garbage out, we leave it out if it doesn't get picked up. I don't know what he was referencing, but anyway, it did seem like a little bit like he was trying to shift blame onto the residents, and that's just not the case. So anyway, number two about the lawsuit thing, I was just curious if somehow if it gets dismissed, but is there some way that it could be determined it's a frivolous lawsuit? And if so, could some of the court costs be recovered from the person filing the frivolous lawsuit? I have no idea. I'm not an attorney. I don't know the super details of the case, but it does seem like it's sort of a persecution. And I don't know if that's a possibility. That would be a way for the township maybe to recover some of the fees. Just an idea. Happy holidays to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else that would like to speak at public comment, please raise your Zoom hand. Yeah. There are no hands raised.
Okay. Next is board member response to public comment or to, I guess just, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just briefly, Barbara, this answers only part of your question. You can look in the background of the item and see the links to the insurance determination for coverage of fees, trying to get the township's costs. It was denied twice. And just to clarify, this is a criminal case. I don't know how that's looked upon, but I think it's a pretty high standard there. But agree, this never should have happened, and hopefully it will be resolved soon. I do want to say, Renee, thank you for telling us that was startling. I did not see that. I believe you. I just didn't see it. I just want to ask everybody before we close up, if anybody saw anything about what Renee was reporting, if you could report it to Jillian and just kind of so she can get all the facts together about what went down, so that we can make sure everybody's comfortable when they're at these public meetings. So thank you.
Anyone else? Treasurer Yable?
Thank you for sharing that, Renee, and I'm sorry that you had to experience that behavior. That's not okay. Everybody has the right to be here. Obviously, there's things that we agree on and disagree on as a group, and there will be, but that doesn't deserve anybody to have erratic or behavior they're uncomfortable with towards them, especially if it's getting in somebody's face. That's just not okay.
And the chair throwing, that's the second time for 2025, so.
Yeah, if we could stop doing that in next year, that would be great. Yeah, so please let us know that information. Certainly, I'd support our attorney also speaking with that. Needs additional investigation. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, well, I do have something to say. I keep hearing settlement, settlement, settlement. This is a criminal case. The only settlement is you plead guilty. I'm not pleading guilty because I didn't do what I am being accused of doing. So tired of hearing about the settlement aspect of it. The legal defense fund, with the state, David Reed was my treasurer, and he can verify that, there were further charges that were going to be brought against me for not filing with the state. The thing is that I did file with the state every quarter. It went to the state. They didn't realize that I was sending it by fax, which I was told that was the fastest way. I sent it by fax. It went into this room that nobody got. And so when I said, and David and I talked about this, and we said, we're going to file it by mail, every email address that we could find. And it came back and they were surprised. We didn't even know you had a case. So that's all that happened with that, and they are short-staffed. They are highly short-staffed. In fact, last Thanksgiving, not this past Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving before, the day before Thanksgiving, I was on the phone with Heidi Zeldnik from the Bureau of Elections for 2 hours trying to figure this out. And when I said they're trying to charge me further with the crimes for not filing these fees, and she laughed. She said, they don't even have jurisdiction. Did they not read the statute? So anyways, I am diligent with my paperwork. I get it over there and it's sitting somewhere where somebody hasn't gotten to it. I mean, she was delightful, by the way. She wasn't, anyways, and they also sent me to their attorneys, and their attorneys stated that, anything that was late, they're not going to charge me, and they actually gave me a loan for it. So now that that's cleared up, and yes, this is an excruciating experience. I know that you're all upset and, about this process with the fees and whatnot, but you're not going through this. I am. I can't even leave the state to see my granddaughter for the holidays. And you think this is fun? It's disgusting. And yes, I hope this is over very soon. So, is there a motion to adjourn at 1:43? So moved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.